What's up, guys? Carter here. The U.S. automotive landscape might be going through one of the most transformational changes in the history of time, because President Trump just announced a move that could literally change what vehicles are allowed to be built and sold in America.
If you go to Japan, they're very small, they're really cute. And I said, how would that do in this country? And everyone seems to think good, but you're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the secretary to immediately approve the production of those cars.
And for brands like Toyota and Suzuki, this is huge. We're talking the Hilux, the Jimny, tons of other platforms under $20,000 that could be coming to our shores, and I'm all here for it. So let's dive into it in today's video.
Oh my God, okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
All right, so here's the scoop. Trump said he's loosening up the regulations so automakers can finally build smaller, compact cars in the United States. Not EV mandates, not giant SUVs, actual small vehicles like the ones you see dominating the streets of Japan. Why, you ask? Well, Trump went to Japan, saw all these tiny little cars around and said they were very cute. Those are his words, not mine, although I do agree, and decided that Americans should have this option too. He then told the transportation secretary, make it happen. Just go, do it now. For decades, Kei cars and compact imports have been blocked by a regulatory chokehold tighter than me wearing medium shirts, which is that's a tight fit. It's fine. I'm a grown boy. All right. Now, there's a couple different headwinds in this area of small and medium-sized cars and trucks, including the corporate average fuel economy standards, which typically favor the larger vehicles. And when you think about it, a big truck obviously is going to have lower MPG, so you can't have every single car at a 40 miles per gallon baseline. And what auto manufacturers do is they mix and blend their lineup so that they have a good mix of hybrids and EVs, which offset their big old trucks. But still. Smaller cars historically are deemed less safe by regulators, and when you think about it, that's just physics. Small car versus big truck always wins. U.S. fuel prices have always been cheap, so the demand was relatively low for a 50 miles per gallon small little compact vehicle. So Japanese automakers say that Kei trucks just weren't really financially feasible to bring to the U.S. In other words, America said, yeah, those tiny cars are cool, but we like our big trucks, our big sodas, and the biggest, baddest national debt of all time. We want to be the best. The most, all the things. And yeah, the Kei cars just don't really fit into that equation yet. All right, now here's where it gets interesting. And if these barriers really come down, then Toyota has a golden opportunity sitting in its back pocket. And I'm talking about the Toyota Hilux, probably the reason why you clicked on this video, and I don't blame you, this truck is awesome. Worldwide, the Hilux is an absolute legend. It's tougher than a $5 Harbor Freight Ratchet. But Toyota hasn't sold in the US for decades because of regulations and tax structures that made it an absolute nightmare. We're talking the chicken tax, and we did a whole video on that. Check in the description below if you want to check that out. But now, if small, efficient vehicles get a green light and compact truck production becomes more feasible, if the US wants domestically built small pickups, Toyota could potentially bring the Hilux home. And this isn't limited to just the Hilux. Suzuki Jimny for years has been staring at me from across the border. Occasionally, Mexicans will drive it up across the border, and I get to see them in person, and they look awesome. A small little compact SUV that gets great gas mileage, is totally off-road capable, and has none of the extreme bells and whistles that, you know, a lot of the modern SUVs have in the US. It's a SUV that's under $30,000, which is pretty epic considering its capabilities. That could all change with these potential new regulations. And don't forget, Ford, GM, and Stellantis all stood next to Trump during the announcement, and lots of head nods. They were fully in support of it. Let's be real, you don't stand next to a guy announcing big regulatory changes unless you're thinking, how can I make some money off of this? And Toyota, they've been sitting on a global catalog of compact greatness, just waiting for a moment like this. So the big question is, when could we actually see Kei trucks in the US? The answer, realistically, 3 to 5 years before you'll see widespread production models. Why? Of course, the regulations still need to be written. Automakers still need to retool factories. Safety standards need updating, and they need to do a US crash test. They need to figure out pricing that doesn't destroy their margins, because if you're selling a sub $20,000 vehicle, obviously your $30,000 and $40,000 vehicles are going to take a hit. Now imagine a world where the Jimny is finally legal here, where Toyota sells the Pixie Mega, or Honda drops a modern Beat Roadster, which are all things that I didn't know existed except for the Jimny, but still sounds pretty cool. We're about to find out who actually wants good miles per gallon and who just wants to park their F-350 in a compact spot to fuel something. This move doesn't just affect consumers, it might actually light a fire under US automakers. And the potential impacts could be massive. We're talking lower priced new cars that could finally return into a sub $20,000 market. Brands like Ford and GM might reintroduce compact trucks, Toyota, Honda, Suzuki, and Mitsubishi may enter new US segments, and the aftermarket bros like us have a brand new playground to play in. Now, of course, fuel usage and emissions debates are about to go absolutely nuclear, and the EV versus small gas car battle is going to heat up again. However, I'm all here for it. It's all about awesome discourse, get all the information out there, and really make a decision that's best for the people. The fact that the big three automakers are supporting this pretty much tells you everything. They see the margin, they see the volume, they see an escape hatch from the EV war. They've been forced to make these EVs over the past years with a ton of government incentives. However, they're just not moving on the lot. The people want small, efficient, gas-powered vehicles, and hopefully this new regulation could actually bring it to us. Of course, not everyone's stoked. Environmental groups are calling the rollback of fuel economy standards a step backward. They say that weaker CAFE rules means more gas burned and more money out of pockets from the family long term. However, have you ever wondered how much more fuel a F-150 burns compared to a little tiny Suzuki Jimny over the course of, let's say, 100,000 miles? The F-150 gulps down around 5,000 miles at a conservative 20 miles per gallon, while the Suzuki Jimny sips only around 2,700 gallons of fuel. The difference is nearly 10 jacuzzis worth of fuel, or 2,300 gallons. And that's just over the course of 100,000 miles. So you tell me what's cleaner, burning 2,300 extra gallons or having an epic off-road SUV that saves 2,300 gallons? The math isn't mathin'. Math just isn't mathin'. So the debate now is, are small affordable cars the solution, or will this completely derail the EV progress? Either way, the comment section is about to be an absolute dumpster fire, and I'm all here for it. Of course, the Transportation Department is opening up a 45-day public comment period before anything becomes official, so this isn't 100% locked in. I could get my hopes up, a boy can dream, but we're just not there yet. If it does pass, expect automakers to react fast. They want to be the first ones to the market. You don't get an opportunity to enter a brand new market segment every single day. All right, so what do you think? Do you want to bring the Hilux and Suzuki Jimny back to America? Would you daily drive a K truck? Are we entering into a mini truck renaissance, or is this just political chaos on wheels? Either way, drop your comments below and let me know what you want to see on the shores of America, and I will keep you guys updated as we get more information about this developing story. We're probably not going to see anything for the next 12 to 24 months, but a boy can dream. If you want to support the channel, go to forge4x4.com, pick up some merch, and or become a member, and you automatically get entered to win one of our giveaway rigs. So check it out there, and in the meantime, bring on the wild. Thanks for watching, guys. I mean, really, if we had a ton of SUVs and cars that were under $20,000, it would change. Inflation would go down. People would actually be able to afford a brand new car. There's something awesome about that. The used car market has just been absolutely insane over the past 5 to 10 years. So it's one of those things that, like, yeah, it kind of makes a lot of sense. Let's bring smaller cars that don't have all the bells and whistles, because there is a subset of the population that wants those. And us guys who modify these cars want to be into something for less than $20,000, because we're about to spend another $20,000 on upgrades. So I think it's a really cool opportunity to get something that has a warranty, a brand new engine, that someone hasn't, absolutely ripped this thing to shreds, and you could actually build something really cool. So I think overall, this is a net positive for the American people. And this is just a postscript rant that I, didn't really plan on doing. However, I think it's a really cool solution to something that, has been just chapping everyone's ass for the past, 30 years since the chicken tax went into effect. So that's all I got to say about that. Bonus content. Boom.